everybody. Welcome to Life After Death and Beyond. I'm James Semprog, your host, my good friend Kelly White. Hello, Kelly.
Hi, James.
Hi,
Welcome
Kelly.
back, James.
Thank you, Kelly. So Kelly knows I just literally got off a plane about, I don't know, 15 minutes ago,
Yep,
and
just about.
about 15 minutes ago, and just got home from a weekend in Austin, Texas, where I did the Ascension convention with Alex Ferrari, and it was wonderful, a great experience. And some guests will be on our podcast, Kelly, because
Great.
I met there, and so it was really nice. I'm glad I'm back, and I'm looking forward to tonight's show, to
Oh,
the podcast
me
we have.
too. Me too. So excited, everybody. This is really
Yeah,
an extraordinary opportunity that we all have tonight.
yeah, it's an amazing experience because maybe less than a year ago, 8 months ago, my best friends Peter Redgrove came down with terminal cancer, and well, let me go back in time. When I was working and I lived in Los Angeles, I did a demonstration at a place that I helped create, APLA, AIDS Project Los Angeles. And I did this wonderful demonstration there, and Peter was in the audience. And from that, he came to have a private session with me when I was doing those private sessions when I lived in my apartment back in Hollywood days. And he had one of the most incredible readings, messages that came through. His partner, who passed over, came through with his name and details, and it was just an amazing experience. And Peter decided to sit with me in a development circle. We sat for many years in a development circle, and we sit in his apartment in Hollywood there with the people. And Peter will tell you more, but it really came strongly to Peter that I need to write a book. And I said, I don't really want to write a book. He goes, James, you have to write a book. You have to write a book. It'll change the world. It'll change the consciousness of the planet. You really need to. And he really pushed me and prodded me along to write a book. So I wrote Talking to Heaven. So if it wasn't Peter, I would not have written Talking to Heaven. We would not be here.
We would not be here,
We would
actually.
not be here. No. And now it's my time to take care of Peter, who's in his his final stages of cancer. And I moved Peter into my house because he needed a place to live. It would be convenient to a hospital in San Diego. And now we're living together for about 8 months and having a great time. And we thought it'd be great for everybody to experience Peter. And really, it's a unique opportunity to have someone who's facing death to talk about it and prepare for death. And that's what we thought we'd share with everybody tonight. It's a very special show.
It really is. I mean, Peter is he's such a gift to all of us. If it wasn't for Peter, we would not all be here. The mediumship world owes
It's
him
very true.
a
It's very
big
true.
debt here of
Uh,
of thanks, because he's really quite extraordinary. And for him to be in this final stage as we go through life, the final stage, it's so important to be able to hear his wisdom that he's sharing with all of us.
and he's helped to change millions and millions of
Mhm.
lives. So
Yeah.
it's a life well spent. So please, everyone, please help me welcome my good friend Peter Redgrove. Hello,
Hi.
Peter. Hi,
Oh,
Peter.
God,
Peter,
what an introduction.
Well,
Thank you so much.
so
thank you.
glad you're with us tonight,
Well, I'm
Peter.
happy and surprised, quite frankly, that I'm here. I was all but given up uh, for dead, a couple of months ago.
Mm.
But I seem to have rallied, and I'm now on my 7th round of chemo, which is kind of incredible. I can't believe it.
Right.
And Peter, what kind of cancer do you have, or did you
Well,
have, or a combination, or?
I have a combination of bone marrow cancer and, of course, leukemia, which is a byproduct. And, I have too many underlying issues. I'm too old to get um, a, a marrow transplant. So the thing that's just keeping me alive are the chemo treatments. And but I don't know, frankly, how much more I can take. Um, I
Peter,
sus-
how long did when did the cancer start? How long ago
oh
was?
gosh, I think probably about 2 or 3 years ago. I didn't know. I was living in Portland at the time, and frankly, I don't think I was receiving the best care. And at this point, if anyone from University of San Diego Health is watching, a big shout out. The best, the most wonderful care I could have wished for. They're wonderful people, caring and sensitive and accommodating. I feel very fortunate and in so many ways to here and to have all my faculties.
Well, you told your doctor when you first came down to San Diego, you said to your doctor, "I'm a bit of a freak," and your
Yeah,
doctor said, "Okay," and tell us
yeah,
about that.
yeah. I said I'm a freak, and she chuckled. And um, when I met with her the last time, um, she said, "You've made me a believer."
Wow.
I mean, 7 rounds of chemo is pretty
Oh,
tough.
yeah,
Pretty
that
And
intense.
is
I still have hair, which is
Yeah.
amazing.
extraordinary.
Yeah, it's great.
Extraordinary, actually. And you told me earlier you've been a chef your whole life, and
Well,
you are still cooking.
I
Yeah.
still cook. That's my outlet. I love to cook, and I love to cook for James because he's
Very good.
very appreciative diner. And I still do that. And for the most part, I still drive myself to my appointments.
Wow. Wow. That's
You know?
incredible.
And I think each time, oh God, I keep a bath bag on the passenger seat.
So you're practical during this.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, well, one has to be.
Yeah.
The condition has to be managed.
Yes.
You have to be cognizant of all of the after effects and side effects. And, nausea comes on when you least expect it. It just happens.
Wow. Wow.
Anyway, I came up with this living the dying. It just struck me one day. I thought, I know I'm dying, but I'm actually living through it. I'm living. I'm cognizant of everything that's going on. And I thought, what a privilege, to have the time to think about it, to organize myself and my thoughts, and to have the time to prepare. A lot of people don't have that time. They're taken suddenly for one reason or another, or just are not able to accept the fact that they're dying.
Or many people, Peter, it's in my life, they did not want to believe. They were in such denial that they were going to die that we weren't even allowed to have the conversation.
Exactly. And, also, I think culturally, I know when we're younger, we reject the idea of death. It only happens to old people, right? And on television and movies. It's not going to happen to us. Well, what a jolt. Here I am. And I know it's going to happen and happen soon. And, and I'm not unhappy with that idea because, my faith has been very strong and has kept me going. And I know what's waiting on the other side. We're all going to walk through that door. And, the way we walk through it is up to us.
Yeah.
Peter, how have things changed for you from the very beginning of this experience and in your mind from 1 month to the next month? Have things changed the way you think, or has something been more? Tell us about that.
Yes, it has very much so, because I've accepted the fact, and it was a jolt. I was in the hospital, as you know, James, for 3.5 weeks. And the third week, one of the oncologists came in, and I knew when they came in, I said, "Is it cancer?" And he said, "Yes." And that was it. And I knew. I just knew. Yeah. And yes, my thinking has changed. A lot has changed. I was jolted by the diagnosis and forced to face my own mortality. I also thought about I've been very interested in people who've had near-death experiences, and a common denominator is the life review. And it occurred to me, the big part of preparing for death is not waiting till you're dead to have the life review. Do it while you're living. Take inventory of your life, review your life, and to the extent you need to forgive people who have injured you in your life, forgive them. But most importantly, forgive yourself for mistakes that you've made. And in looking back and thinking about mistakes, and I've made plenty, each has been an opportunity to learn. It's a learning opportunity to make a mistake. Whether we choose to learn, that's our choice.
Peter, I think that that's changed with you from the very first time you knew about this and we're sitting and talking about it. Your mindset is definitely more accepting of those experiences. I knew you were, we used to talk about, well, what are you hanging out for? I said, I'm not done yet. And I think part of it is going through this life review of yours and sharing,
Yeah.
forgiving. Do you think so?
Yes, very definitely. And, each person will find their own unique way of traveling down this road. And each is going to have a unique experience. A big part of it is really letting go. And it's letting go of stuff that represents baggage. And I, for one thing, want to travel light. I don't want to carry on baggage.
Right.
Leave it here. I'll take it.
Yeah, I don't want. I'm traveling light.
Yeah,
I want to, get rid of stuff that has no real purpose, has no meaning in my life today. And it just changes your perspective.
Because you weren't like that at the beginning, Peter, were you? You didn't have that really kind of mindset yet. Yeah.
No. I've always been cognizant of the fact that we're all going to die, and but I'd never had an occasion to face it head on.
Peter, is there any fear there?
I wouldn't call it fear. There's a little trepidation. I'd be lying if I said there wasn't, because I have faith in my belief that there is an afterlife, but I haven't experienced it yet. So I have a little trepidation, but not fear. It's I just the contradictory feelings, emotions I have to be sorted out and dealt with head on. And that's what I've been doing. And, making sure there's no unfinished business. And that's a very, very important thing, and it has been for me. And tying up loose ends.
Would those be practical loose ends, or would that be something from the past?
Or emotional?
Emotionally, and in terms of relationships, and on the practical side, as James knows, I've been very actively making sure I have my power of attorney, durable power of attorney documents in place, will in place, very specific. And I would just say to anyone who's facing what I'm facing, make sure you have the power of attorney documents in place. Make sure your executor knows specifically what your will contains, and be very specific in your will. I've seen too much. I volunteered in hospice for.
Yeah, well, I want you to talk about that for a little bit, Peter, because that
Yeah,
you didn't just
and
volunteer, you really lived that life with hospice. Why don't you tell people a
yeah,
little bit about that? Because that's
well,
something.
it was, it was probably the hardest work I've done, but the best. Helping. I lost my partner of 18 years, and it was he died of AIDS, and it was a very terrible, terrible disease, and it was not. There was no way of managing it at the time, and he passed away in 1990. And he was really ill for 2 years. And he was an extraordinarily handsome person. And what it did to him was I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. Um, he, when you're caring for someone, you learn a great deal. And I learned a great deal from him because he was an extraordinary soul. And in fact, he was the very first. I owe a great deal to him. He was the first person in my life who accepted me and loved me unconditionally. And it tore me in pieces to see what was going on with him. But I learned a lot. And after he passed, I thought, well, what's the point of having all of this learning and all of this knowledge if you don't share it? And I applied for a volunteer position in the AIDS unit, Cedars-Sinai Hospital in LA. And that was the time when.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that? Yeah.
Very well.
Yeah, it was a terrible, terrible time.
Terrible time.
And I did that for 7 years.
Every Saturday, right, Peter? Every Saturday?
Yeah, helped a lot of people get through the process because it was a death sentence at that time. And met some amazing souls, but saw terrible, terrible things. Parents disowning their children because of their religious beliefs. And I thought, where is the godlike behavior when you reject your own child? And but in any event, it's very important because I saw the results of people not having their affairs in order. So there's a practical side, but there's also having your affairs, your emotional affair in order, again, so that you can pass without regrets. And it's no good regretting and fretting over the regrets. You have to forgive yourself for not completing the tasks you may have set yourself.
Well, let me ask you about that. Do you feel that you've completed most of your tasks on Earth?
And do you think there's anything left, or do you think that you do something very different, or do you think that's why you've lasted a long time?
Well, I'd say yes. I think I've completed some of the more important ones. And my work with you, James, very, very important.
Yeah.
And there are a few things left. And I think the fact that I'm able to do this broadcast, hope, God willing, it will help some people, even those who are not facing imminent departure from this world. It helped bring the whole subject of death and dying up to a discussable level. I think, we celebrate birth and we talk about birth and we hold parties for birthdays, but I think that, I would like to ask my survivors, celebrate my rebirth day, because I consider the day of birth, the day of death, a rebirth day. Celebrate.
Love that.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, James, we have to have a party.
We will have a party.
Amen. Amen.
Peter, I have a question for you.
Yes,
Because
sir.
I know we've talked a little bit, but so as you've gone on this journey, right, for the past, let's say, 5, 6, 7, 8 months, um, the more you're getting closer and closer to that time, to the threshold, have you found within your being, and maybe in your mindset, that you're, because sometimes I feel this even now, but I'm sure you're feeling it very different, that you're more of aware of the spirit world, or you're more aware of your soul self than and less of the physical self. Do you know,
Yes,
is that is?
absolutely.
Tell us about that,
Yeah.
would you please?
Well, it's I spend a good deal of my time alone. I value solitude. And again, every breath I take reminds me I'm still alive.
Mm.
And while I'm alive and have my faculties, uh, I want to dig deep into my the world of my soul and um, prepare myself in silence for my passing. And I mean, we all want a good death, and I pray for a good death and a dignified one. Um, it's important, though, I don't shun away from social events, but I'm very careful. I'm very choosy about the people I spend time with and the the venues. Um, you know, I've always been like a sponge. If there's
Yeah, it's
negative
true.
energy around me, I soak it up. So I try very hard not to be around, be aware of negativity, but not absorb it.
And Peter, one more thing. So if you're getting more aware of that, are you more aware of the spirit world around you? Do you feel more
Yes,
spirit people
I
around you?
do. I do.
Okay.
And um, I have a strong feeling that um, people I think about a lot who have passed are around me. And on more than one occasion here, James,
Yeah.
while I've been cooking, I have felt someone touching my shoulder. And I turned around, I thought maybe it was you, and there's nobody there. But there is somebody there in spirit.
Well, I've
So,
walked in the kitchen when you're sitting there, and I've seen many spirits, or in the room we have to sit down by the books, and I said, "Wow, it's so crowded here, Peter." Remember, we've talked about that and all the different people, but yeah, I think as you get closer to that threshold, you become a little bit more aware of your soul
oh,
self, that
yes,
soul
yes,
life.
yes. And, you know, I seek out safe and quiet places. And your garden, James, is such a beautiful place. It's a place of healing,
Yeah.
not only physically, but
Yeah.
spiritually.
Yeah.
And but I've felt, um, you know what it is to degauss something, and that's what I have felt has been happening to me. Um, I think about events and people in my past, and I see them all in a different light now.
Really?
Yes, it's like
Wha-
the layers. My eyes have been taken away, and there's much more clarity. And
Do you see them more as their soul?
yes, I see them in a spiritual way, more than a physical way. Um,
Hmm.
it's like degaussing my internal hard drive. Again, it's part of letting go and not taking baggage with me. I don't want any baggage, and that's a big part of preparing yourself.
What
Just
brings you joy during this period of time
ah,
that you're in, the sacred time that you're in?
sacred time is um, silent time, time with James, of course. That brings me joy and peace.
And there's this one.
And this little girl here, who is just the
Sweet
um,
girl.
sweetest natured dog you can imagine,
Yeah.
and
He
which
loves Peter.
Well, I love her, and I look forward actually to a reunion with all my pets over the
Yeah.
years because I know they're going to be there. Um, Especially my little wiener dog, Gretel. She was my heart. And you know, there's an art to dying. We can make it an art, and that's what I strive to do. And it's not, it's not a tearful thing for me. I've reached a ripe old age, much older than I ever expected to be.
Mm.
And I'm grateful for every breath I take right now. It's a bonus.
But Peter, you are a bit of a freak. You have to admit that. Because
Yeah,
Kelly, he's had no white blood cells for months and months. No
yeah,
white blood cells. He's
no,
been socializing. He goes out a little bit. I mean, it's amazing.
Wow,
yeah,
that's extraordinary. Your soul's on a mission.
yeah, yeah. And the other thing I feel is important. Um, I don't know who to attribute this to, but I heard it many, many, many years ago. Give with warm hands. So I've been giving a lot of my things away
Mhm.
and wanting to see the joy and appreciation that it brings to the recipients. So I think that's a very important part of letting go of stuff, letting go of things that have brought you joy. And many of the things I've given away have brought me joy. I'm a collector, I am very visual. I love any direction I look. I want eye candy.
Right.
But you ask me what brings me joy? Well, music. I hope
Oh, yeah.
in the next lifetime I come back as a musician, particularly the organ. I'm fascinated with it. I always have been. I just can't wrap my head around the virtuosos who not only have to be cognizant of all the ranks and the dozens of stops, they play with their feet as well. Talk about coordination. So I would very much like to come back as a musician, but listening to music brings me great joy.
And was there a particular piece that you liked?
Well, I'm very much in love with what I like to call the impressionist composers like Ravel and Debussy, and in particular, an English composer who lived in France most of his life, Frederick Delius. And he came to America, and one of my favorite pieces is the Florida Suite. And he also visited the Appalachians, and it's wonderful music. And if you can close your eyes, you can visit these places through music. These composers were to music what impressionist painters like Monet and Gauguin were to the visual arts.
And you also love art, yes?
I love art.
And one of your favorite artists, Maxwell Parrish, correct?
Maxfield Parrish, and I like the California Impressionists a lot.
Look at that's Maxwell. There you go, right there.
That's
This
one.
is-
Yes, that's
It's
one.
beautiful.
Yeah, and if you have a chance to look at his other paintings, they'll blow you away. And
very colorful, you said.
very colorful, but again, it stimulates my imagination, and I think the colors are. He must have had a glimpse of heaven.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Inspiration. Yeah.
Yeah, like great composers. It all comes from, I think, the spirit
Yeah.
world.
They download it. Yeah.
Yes, yes, and
One of the things you said about the colors, which I think is lovely, how you described the colors. You said it's the closest thing that I can imagine the colors in the spirit world to be. And
yes.
tell everybody about the colors, because you had a lovely saying.
Well, I think the colors are so brilliant that if we were to look at them here in our earthly form, I think they would blind us and really hurt our eyes. But I think the colors in the heavenly realm are neon on steroids, and they don't hurt the eye. Colors give off sounds, music. It's sensory overload.
wow.
And you said the colors are soft to the eyes.
Well, they're soft,
I
but they're
love that
brilliant.
expression.
Yeah.
They're
They're
brilliant and
brilliant
soft. Yeah.
and soft, and they're soft to the eye. Yeah, they don't hurt you in the way, extraordinarily bright light. Or if you look at the sun directly, it hurts the eyes. Not in the other realms.
I have a quick question for you, Peter. If you
Yeah.
had to do it all over again, let's say you had 10 minutes to say, well, I'm going to redo it again. What would you do differently?
Tell more people I love them.
Ah,
And there isn't much difference. I mean, my childhood,
Yeah.
my childhood was a difficult one, and but I wouldn't change any of it. It formed me. It made me who I am. It helped me develop a strong empathy and sympathy, and it also taught me a great deal of how to be independent. And that's been of great value in my life. Probably one of the greatest characteristics that I tuned into very early was, in fact, my intuition. And I've often referred to it as nature's tuning fork. And whenever I've acted against it, I've been sorry. So, all you folks out there, trust your intuition, trust it. It's there for a very, very good reason. And I think we bring back enough from other lifetimes. And our intuition, when we're faced with difficult situations and we're called to make a decision, the gut feeling or intuition tells us what we should do.
Mm.
So it's a very, very valuable thing. I have an appreciation for people and the beauty of the world that we live in. We're going through a very, very difficult time right now, and the ethical axis is changing. The world is tipping. It looks like it's tipping on the wrong side. But I have a profound faith in the goodness of people. And I do think that good will prevail. I believe that. But it will come at a cost. And I think we have some pain to go through. But I'm very grateful for the world that we live in.
I bet, Peter, when you return to the other side, that you become a professor.
Ah.
You have so much wisdom from being on Earth at such a significant time. And your life story, because I know a lot of the backstory, was very deeply challenging. and your ability to overcome so much in your life, I think has led you to the place where we are now, where you're able to speak so confidently and clearly about the position you're in right now.
Yeah, it's strange, and to look back, I mean, I've had so many wonderful experiences. You know, as you know, I was raised in an orphanage, a convent run by nuns, and at the encouragement of my dear friend Elliot, my sister and I, and three of us, took a trip when I was in England on a visit to go back to that place of horror, really. And my sister couldn't even go to the front door of the convent. She was so traumatized. She was also in a convent. And but I went in, and you know, there was only one sister left. Everyone else was a lay person, and it had become an old people's home. Had a totally different feeling about it. And her name was Sister Anna. What a sweet soul. And she said, by all means, look around, you know, walk around. And I did. And this is just one of the incidents that happened there. I went to the chapel or the church, which when I was a child looked enormous. And of course, when I went back as an adult, it was quite small. And all of the passageways leading into the chapel were terraza. So even if you wore slippers, you could hear someone. So I was sitting at the back of the chapel, the doors were open, and I was thinking about my early days there and people who had been part of the experience, good and bad. And, you know, you can always tell when someone's looking at you. At least I can.
You can feel
And
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I felt it. And I turned around, and there was this man, the most beautiful face I've ever seen on a human being. His skin was the color of angel coral. His eyes were bright turquoise. His hair was snow white. And he looked at me and smiled, and all he said was, everything's okay now.
Wow. Wow.
And it was like a huge pack had been unpacked from shoulders. And I turned around 2 seconds, I swear, later, and to look. Did I just imagine that? Gone. Completely disappeared.
Wow.
And I believe that was one of my guides.
I agree.
For sure.
Came to help me unburden myself from.
Heal your mind.
Yes, it was healing. And that was just one incident. There were several others while I was there. But it was an amazing experience, and one that really became indelible in my mind. I think about it often. And
do you look forward to seeing him?
Yes, I do.
Just think about that, Kelly. Yeah.
Yes, there's so many people I look forward to seeing. I have more friends and family over there than I do here. You know, I think that's one of the penalties of reaching old age. A lot of your family, a lot of your friends pass before you do. But it gives, you know, if you have the belief that there's life after life, it gives you something to look forward to. And I do look forward to reunion with all my family that I knew and didn't know. A lot of my family were murdered in the Holocaust. And so I look forward to knowing them. And telling people over there that I never told enough that I love them, that how much I do love them and respect them. I never knew my biological father. He's one of the people I really, really want to meet.
Mm.
I know very little about him, but I really want to meet him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've lived a very charmed life and a very good life considering where I started, and I'm grateful for that. So, when I got the news that I had a terminal cancer, there was a change in attitude, an attitude with gratitude.
Mm.
I like that because not only it rhymes, but it happens to be true.
Right.
I have gratitude, great gratitude for all the love I have experienced in my lifetime and all of the love I've been able to give and share with others. And
It
that's
makes
really,
you a successful life, Peter.
well, I'm never really satisfied with myself.
I
I've
know.
had a hard time with that all my life. And, I never think that I've done all I could have done and should have done. And I don't have the confidence that you have and you, Kelly, in me. But all will be revealed when I.
Well, you made a lot of difference in people's lives.
Oh,
You know,
is that the truth?
because of you, I reached all these millions and millions of people, and you're responsible for that as well. So you got to remember that.
Yeah, and if you hadn't done that, I wouldn't be here doing my work, Peter. So I know how important you are. It's the truth. I know how
It
important
is.
Well, there's a little poem I'd like to read you all. It's called Afterglow, and it's by Lowry Marshall. I'd like the memory of me to be a happy one. I'd like to leave an afterglow of smiles when life is done. I'd like to leave an echo whispering softly down the ways of happy times and laughing times and bright and sunny days. I'd like the tears of those who grieve to dry before the sun of happy memories that I leave when life is done. Isn't that sweet?
Beautiful. Beautiful.
And
people will love that.
yes, I hope so. It's just strange. I find myself sometimes thinking, what a strange position to be in.
Thank God you have a sense of humor with it.
I do,
Yeah.
I'm living and dying at the same time. But, when I think about it, we all are. The minute we're born, we start dying. We all have mortality to deal with. But sometimes you have to deal with it head on because it's imminent. And
I have a question for you, Peter.
Sure.
A lot of people, and they get into this stage, their dreams change. I'd love to know about how you're dreaming at night. If you're
That's
dreaming of,
interesting.
what you're dreaming of.
Interesting, Kelly.
I don't remember most of my dreams. One I had that has haunted me for years. As a general rule, I don't remember my dreams. I don't know what that means. Maybe I just traveled to the great void,
Or maybe you avoid.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, it was shortly after my friend Nori died. I had a dream of him holding me as a child
Oh,
Wow. Wow.
So
whoa.
I think he was a parent to me at some point, and it's haunted me for years. And I
That
was,
and or he was healing your inner child, healing you.
Oh,
yeah,
there you go, Kelly. Yeah.
that could be. That could be. But oddly enough, I don't remember my dreams.
Well, going forward, maybe keep a little journal or something about that, because I would love to know, what comes up for you as you dream.
Yeah.
And your and Peter, do you think your sensitivity has increased?
Right.
Um,
I mean, you've always been very sensitive, but when you're quiet and you think it's more so than before, or no?
yes. Yes. I, yeah. Um, how I I'm more sensitive to joy and love shared, very much so. I've had the good fortune to meet some wonderful people through James down here, and immediately upon meeting them, I felt we had known each other for all of our lives. Just wonderful people.
It's great.
I keep saying this, but I feel so blessed. I feel so privileged to be living the dying this way. And it wouldn't be so without you, James. And I'm so grateful to you for
Thank you, Peter.
allowing me to share your space and
Well, thank you.
your presence. You've been an important part of my life. And I knew when I met you that I had
Work to do with me.
work to do, and I couldn't vocalize it at the time, but it was just, again, an intuitive thing. And what a blessing that has been. It's helped me in my career also. I've called on intuition. So a shout out to all of you out there. Trust your intuition.
And Peter, there were three things, just three things. You might repeat yourself too, that you tell someone who's facing their death imminently, quickly. What would you say the three things?
Don't
The
be frightened.
guidance. Don't be
Don't be
frightened.
fearful. Don't be fearful. It's as easy as going to sleep. You pass from one dimension into another, from one level of awareness into another. You will be the same person. Don't think that when you go to the next realm, you're going to be a totally different person. You're not.
Right.
You take all your flaws with you and all your positive attributes with you, and you work them out once you're back there and being reintroduced to your real home and to your real family.
So fear is one, but no fear about death. What would another one be?
Tell everyone you know that you love them,
Yeah.
and that you will remain close to them, and you will take good care of them because you have that ability on the other side. And you can help be one of their angels. So I would say, be sure that you tell people how much you care about them and love them.
I think it says it all.
Yes.
Kelly, anything you want to add to this conversation?
Oh, Peter, you've got so much wonderful energy and wisdom, and we're so grateful. Everybody is saying the kindest things here. You're really hitting every note here for everybody.
Thank you. It's wonderful and a privilege to be able to do this. I never thought I would. So I'm very grateful, and wish everybody Godspeed, blessings, health, happiness, and a big dose of awareness. And please don't be afraid of dying. I'm more afraid of living than I am of dying.
Yeah, that's kind of true, huh?
That's what you say all the time.
It's true.
It's so true.
But we get through it. Yeah.
Yes.
Peter, you've touched everybody's heart and soul.
Well, thank you so much. And God bless you all.
Thank you, Peter. Okay. Kelly, we'll talk to you soon.
See you next
Lots of love.
time.
Thank you.
Bye,
Next
everybody.
time. Thank you. Bye, everybody. Thanks, Renee.